video, we're going to show an interesting experimental 8-track tape looping workflow with the Elektron Octatrack. This is an unconventional setup that I came up with to experiment with. There might be way better workflows for this, but this is the one that I stumbled into. So when I turn the Octatrack off and back on, the recording buffers that we are going to be setting up are emptied. So if you do want to save your individual recordings, you can do that from the sample menu. I'm just going to show how that's done real quick. So you hold down the track and then press bank, and then you click file, this button right here, and then you choose save and assign sample. We aren't going to sync any tempos here. I'm just going to go through some old songs that I wrote on my phone and capture random samples that are about 1 bar long. And I'm just going to play around with them. In other words, if there's percussion in the samples, they're definitely going to be offbeat. So I have saved my own template for myself because the setup takes a few minutes. Instead of going through every single step, I'm just going to explain how I have it set up, and I'll just improvise from there. So on each track, I have it set to flex, and each track is set to a recording buffer. So normally you just scroll up and choose, for track 1, choose R1. We're just setting empty tapes, you would think. Little tape recorders in each track, just imagine that. So I have that set up for everything. So R2, track 2, R3, track 3, etc. All the way through 8. After this is set, all I have to do is press Shift and record. And now we're in the settings. So right now I have in A, B, because that's the stereo input that I'm going to be recording from my phone. Record length is set to 32. That means 32 steps will be recorded. That way, if I want to change the start position on any of these tracks, I'll be able to do it without it cutting off at the end. Trigger is set to 1 and loop is set to off. So what we want to do is set all of the tracks with those same settings. Next, I set each of the tracks to have a single trig on the first step. What I want to do is be able to switch between each sample with setting up separate patterns. So pattern 2 is track 2, pattern 3 is track 3, and so on. Now each pattern, I want it to mute out all the other tracks manually. So pattern 1, we have track 1. If I go to track 2, for example, look at the trig that I created. If we're in amp view, you can see volumes at -64. So in other words, every single pattern, all the tracks are muted out except for the pattern number. So pattern 3 is track 3, etc. This way, if I wanted to use arranger or set a trigger later on, a couple steps down, it would be muted out immediately when I switch to a different pattern. Also, I set the scene B. Each track's rate is set to -64. This way, I can affect the playback head of everything with one sweep of the fader. So let's see how this is set up. So I have pattern 1, and what I'm going to do is just press play on my phone, and we're going to press record here. You can see this switch to a plus. So let's just find a part that I want to record. All right, I'm just going to press it. You'll see it's plus. It's going to stay there. Okay, it's done. Let's do track 2, press record. Now it's recording that part. Let's do another one, track 3. One more, track 4. Okay, so I just recorded 4 different tracks in. So let's just listen through the patterns and see what they sound like. So we'll start with track 1. Track 2. 3. I like that one a lot. Let's go to 4. Okay. Go back to 3 because I like that one a lot. Make sure we go to track 3. Change the width here of the filter. Turn up the high pass. Cue a little bit. Maybe play with a little bit of the delay. Maybe we can change the start position. Okay, I like that. Let's go pattern 2. track 2. Let's mute that down a little. Same kind of filter. Gives it a little lo-fi sound. I'm gonna bring this down a little. Okay, I like that. We're gonna add some delay. Let's go to pattern 1, press track 1. Changing the filter. Let's go back to 3. Let's go to 2. I want to change this one. Make sure we go into track 2 and turn it down. Turn down the delay a little. Switch back. I like it. Let's go to track 2 and change the start position. Mute it down a little more. Let's go to track 1. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is we're just going to play around, we're going to improvise, we're going to add different tracks, and we're going to add some effects. So I have a Chaos Pad 3 Plus and a Chaos Pad 3, and an Eventide H9 set to Shimmer Verb. So let's check it out and see what comes out. Some H9. Let's record something new into here.
See
right, let's hear what that sounds like. So pattern 5. All right, let's find out something for track 6 here. Let's go to pattern 6. 7. Track 8. Okay, so now this has a bunch of other stuff in it. So let's listen to track 5. Cool. Add some delay. Maybe a looper. Switch to pattern 6, track 6. Track 7. Maybe turn on some H9.